So what do you want to do today?
I want to go to the Burbank rink and meet Richard Dwyer, aka Mr. Debonair.
Let's do it.
I heard he became a member of the World Hall of Fame in 1979 and was inducted into the U.S. Figure Skating Hall of Fame in 1993 at age 63.
He also received a certificate from Guinness World Records for having the longest career as a professional ice skater.
He became known as Mr. Debonair, performing on the ice with the top hat, tuxedo, and the lovely Dwyer girls.
Also, he was known to find a woman in the audience and present her with a dozen red roses.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Debonair, Richard Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Dwyer, for allowing Austin and I to interview you today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. It's great.
We took the liberty to do some research on you. We hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
Can you tell us at what age you started your professional career and how long you were performing as a professional ice skater?
Well, I started at 14 and a half, which was pretty young. And I had skated, my first time on skates was 1943. And I competed for 5.5 years. And then in 1950, the Ice Follies made an offer for me to go professional. And never did I dream that it would be my whole career, my whole life. The first contract was for 3 years, and that sounded like eternity to me. But I ended up 30 years alone with Ice Follies. And then 13 with Ice Capades on and off, and some other jobs in between, and finally finishing with working for Charles Schultz at his ice rink and doing his shows.
What was the best part of starting your career so early?
Well, you know what? I don't know quite how to answer it. It was a real challenge because at 14 and a half, I don't think you really know where you're going yet. And I just finished my freshman year at Loyola High in LA, and I had come in third in the national championships, which put me on the world team. And I had to give that up. If I went pro, no more amateur skating, and I loved it. But the opportunity to take over the role of Roy Shipstead was so, unbelievable. And go out there in top hat and tails and make my appearance with these 6 beautiful girls, it happened. We did have to think a lot about it because of my age.
What was going through your mind when you were asked to take over for Roy Shipstead, who is the former Mr. Debonair?
Well, he was my hero, one of my big heroes. And so I was really torn, I'll be honest. I loved the amateur world too, and I thought, oh, well, maybe later was my first reaction. My dad said, that's fine, don't worry about it. And then Eddie Shipstead and Roy Shipstead and Oscar Johnson kept calling in because they really wanted me to do that and be the young Debonair and grow into the role of the Debonair. So it worked out. It turned out to be great, but it was, a tough decision and frightening.
You started your journey as Mr. Debonair at the age of 14. Were the girls 14 too?
Well, the girls were not 14. They were beautiful ice volleyers who probably in their early 20s, and they were in these beautiful costumes, and I don't know what I looked like in the middle. I don't think I was as tall as them, but I was certainly a good company.
You became famous for performing in the Ice Follies and Ice Capades as Mr. Debonair. Part of your act was to deliver a dozen roses to a woman in the audience. Would you pre-pick the women that you would give the roses to?
Well, I would, because when you're out on the ice, a lot of times with the spotlights, it's blinding. And of course, I would go out at intermission because my act was in the second half, and I would pick out a lady so that I could know right where I'm going, so that I could stay with the music because the music was already written and orchestrated. And we had a live orchestra in that era. Oh, it was fabulous and so much fun. But I made friends with those ladies, and I got beautiful letters, and I'd hear from their families. They'd come back. It turned out to be a wonderful friendship for me with a lot of people.
And would you try to find a more mature or an older woman?
Yes, I did. Roy Shipstead, when he did it, he always picked out, as he called it, a grandmotherly type, because he felt that they really deserved it. I followed his tradition, and it worked really well. So, like I said, I made friends, and this sounds strange, but when some of these people, if somebody passed away, the family would write me and say, you know, your picture was still on Mom's dresser and ours wasn't. And they'd say, but she loved you. You know, it was neat.
I understand getting your college education was important to you. Were you able to accomplish your goal of getting your college degree while keeping up with your hectic schedule of performing and traveling?
Well, I did it, but it wasn't easy. Yeah, it took me 22 years to get through college. I would go 1 week in Denver, 1 week in Omaha, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe in Chicago. So that was the challenge at that age of walking into a different classroom, especially the first year. I was a wreck. You know, I didn't know what to say to people. And anyway, it turned out, and I graduated with my class in '53. But college, of course, was summer schools. You know, I took courses by correspondence and finally made it. So 1975, I got my degree from the University of San Francisco.
I read that you wanted to work in the television industry. Which part of it did you want to work in?
I really dreamed of doing what you're doing. You know, I wanted to be maybe on a show. They used to have a show called PM Magazine, and they did interviews. And I did a lot of interviews over the years, and, you know, with some wonderful people. And I thought that would be a fun life, but I wasn't very successful. I had a tape, and I went to a number of studios, and I got help from people, but I soon realized that dream wasn't going to happen. And then I thought, you know what, you love skating, maybe you should stick with what really works for you. And so I went back with Ice Capades.
Since you were able to perform around the world, what was your favorite place and why?
Oh boy, all of them are exciting. But I think, you know, the U.S., I love skating at Madison Square Garden, New York, or Boston Garden, Chicago Stadium. All those cities were a thrill. But I did get to see the world. I got to skate in Hong Kong. I got to skate in Dubai. I got to skate in England. And performing, you know, was just really exciting. And in China, recently, a couple of years ago, I skated in Hangzhou and also in Shenzhen. It's just been a great chance to see the world, and skating gave that to me.
What was your favorite show experience?
That one NBC special I got to do with Brian, and all the Olympians were there, and it was a tribute to figures, you know, the great champions, and just to be among them and be at that performance, and, you know, in Atlantic City, that was a thrill for me. And a lot of my friends were there. When I was in New York, I mean, they honored me in New York at the Ice Theater. That was a very special evening because, like I say, my family were there and a lot of friends, and it was just a wonderful experience.
In closing, if you had it to do over again, would you pick the exact same career for yourself?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I love skating, and you know, it's always been in me. So I tried to go the other direction. You know, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be a lawyer. My brother was a lawyer, you know, but I love the public, I love performing, and I just love to skate. So I think I'd probably do it again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good to be here with you.
Richard Dwyer, still going strong.
The clown with his pants falling down on the dance. That's a dream of romance on the scene where the villain is mean. That's entertainment.